शान साथ है इतने के कुछ शुमार नहीं हमारे दीन का क़िस्सों पे मदार नहीं।
My name is Abid-Alexander. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I grew up mostly in Hamilton, Ontario. And there, I went to the Kingdom Hall and I attended the Bible study. I was unaware that soon my life was about to change. My mother one day told us that we were no longer welcome at the Kingdom Hall, but that I should go find God someplace else. And after a few years, I found Islam, and shortly after that, I found Ahmadiyya Islam. I used to live very far from here in Hamilton South, and there is where I learned about Islam. But shortly after, I moved on the other side of Hamilton to Hamilton North, where I started working for my dad. I found that there was an Ahmadiyya mosque just a few minutes walk up the street. So every Friday I would walk there to attend the Friday prayer. Now, when I got there, I was meeting new brothers for the first time, and they were so kind. They would greet me with salam and let me, pray in peace. So I found a spot in the corner where I would often come and remember God there. And I kept that advice in mind, that God is my guide. So there I would pray to God that, am I in the right place? Are these your followers? Is this the place where I can get closer to you? Is this the place where I can learn more about you? All these things I would pray to God in my prayers sincerely, that I believe that Allah is the only guide. So please, Allah, guide me. So after being presented with the bad form, I signed the initiation, and I joined the Ahmadiyya community. And thereafter I was curious that I feel that I'm ready to get married. What is the process? So I approached one of the elders here and I asked them that I'm interested in getting married. What should I do? And his reaction was that keep doing what you've always done. Pray to God and He'll guide you. But I was thinking that just like the bad form, there was a form. Is there some other paperwork? Is there something else I should do while praying? And he kept saying, just pray to God, pray to God. So I thought, okay, all of the prayers have brought me here. So it is only prayers that are going to bring me to the next step. So I started to pray for a wife, that I started to pray how she would be, how she would look, where she would be from. I started thinking all these ideas. And that's when I realized that the type of woman in which I was really thinking about could not exist, because she was so specific in my mind that I was creating a woman that doesn't exist. So there they taught me, when I approached the elder again, that when I pray for a wife, what should I ask for? He presented the guidance of the Holy Prophet ﷺ on what is the best thing that we should be asking for, and that is the piety. That is for a pious spouse. So I had this in mind, that I desire for my wife to wear the hijab and to know her religion and to be pious. So I presented these to Allah, that, oh Allah, allow me to find a woman who observes parda, who wears the hijab, who knows her religion, and who's pious. So when I fell down in prostrate to Allah, I saw a woman wearing the hijab. And from this image, I felt that she knew Islam. But I was not attracted to her. I was not wanting this to be the woman that I would spend the rest of my life with. But every time I fell down in sajda, every time I closed my eyes, I saw this woman. And this persisted for about a week, that every time I asked Allah for a woman and I closed my eyes, I saw this general image of this woman. And I kept opposing it to Allah, saying that can she be like this or like that? And I kept thinking more things again. But I kept thinking about the advice of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And there I submitted, that, "Oh Allah, if this woman is indeed from you, then I will accept her, and I will marry her, and I will do my best to fulfill my rights as a husband." The moment I said these words, this woman disappeared. Every time I closed my eyes, every time I was in sajda, I didn't see that woman anymore. But I kept praying and praying that, "Oh Allah, guide me and guide me." And that's when, shortly after, I met one of the elders in the mosque, and I told him that I'm still ready to look for a wife. And he asked me to keep praying. So I wasn't sure how long this was going to go on for. Shortly thereafter, I received a call that somebody wanted to meet me and they wanted to come to my house. So we went to my house, and I was somewhat embarrassed that I felt like I didn't do a good job to clean it or look nice for it. But, I showed them around my place, and then we sat on the couch, and this man said to me that he is looking for a husband for his daughter. And I thought, that's great. May Allah help you and may Allah guide you to finding the right person. And he said that it was me that he was wondering if he could propose his daughter to me. And not being familiar with how this works, I thought, okay, what do we do? What are the steps? And he said that here's her number. You can call my daughter and you guys can talk and get to know each other. So I was very nervous. I had never been in this situation before, but I still believed that Allah was with me, but I had no idea yet what this woman was going to look like. So I called her. And we spoke shortly on the phone. It was a brief conversation because she was at school. And I only asked her a few things, and that was mainly trying to get to know if she knew what Islam was, Ahmadiyyat was, the things that I have learned. Has she learned these? Because it was her I wanted to learn my religion from. So again, a few days later, I had an opportunity to call her again. And in that conversation, it was agreed upon that we'd get to meet at her parents' house. So I went to her parents' house. We had this beautiful dinner with her family. And then after everything was done, we sat on the couch, and they said that my wife was going to come upstairs, and I got to see her and meet her. But I had been so worried about, observing parda and observing the rights to women that I was too shy to even look at her. So when she came upstairs, I was just staring at my future father-in-law, and I wouldn't even look at my wife out of fear that out of disrespecting her or disrespecting her father. So after that meeting, it was very short. She called and she said, that was the meeting that we were to talk and look at each other and talk, and you wouldn't even look at me. You wouldn't even talk to me. And I said, I'm sorry, I was very shy. So she said, let's meet again. So the same thing occurred, that I got to meet, we had a dinner, and thereupon I got to see her again. So I went home and I said to Allah that I'm not sure what to do. I'm not familiar with this, and there's no one to help me except you. So give me that tranquility, give me that relief that this is the right decision. So I contacted the local Sadr and I asked that if I could spend the night in the mosque praying to God about this decision, and I was given permission. So I went to the corner in which I always sat for Friday prayer, and there I prayed all night. I prayed all night until I was just so fatigued, I just fell down asleep. I woke up just shortly before the Fajr namaz, when people were coming to the mosque, and there I prayed. And I had this certainty in me that this is the right decision, that this is your wife. So I called her dad, and I said that your daughter and I have agreed to this marriage. And he said, keep praying, keep praying. And I thought, that had happened. I prayed to Allah, I got that strength. And he said, no, the praying never stops. You now have to keep praying that, oh Allah, that reassure me again and again that this is the right decision. And over the years, what I've realized is that there are times where you forget to pray. You forget that reminder that you need from Allah, that the decisions you make are the right decisions. So whenever I have forgotten, those are the times where issues arise. Those were the times where it seems the marriage becomes difficult. But when that reminder comes to pray and I fall down again to Allah that, oh Allah, you told me this was the right decision. You showed me my wife. You presented her to me and I have accepted her. So please give me that tranquility, that reminder that this was the right decision. And it comes. Again, I'm reminded that my wife is my wife and that I will stay with her forever, inshallah. And the best part about this relationship I have with my wife is she too has the same feeling, that she too fell down and prostrate before her God and asked her God for a spouse. And it was I that was presented to her. So whenever my wife and we go into these difficulties, we remind each other that I was given you from God. How could I give you away? If it was Allah who gave you to me, who am I to return you? So this belief that I have is what strengthens my relationship with my wife. And whenever those times come that I forget, I pray to Allah to remind me of that feeling, of that accepted prayer when I asked Him for a wife.